KPAM News Time 7:41. It's First Edition. News Talk 860 KPAM. This time Thursday mornings means the First Edition Beer Geek is on the air. And let's talk about the business of craft beer this morning with Sam Holloway, who is founder of Crafting a Strategy and a professor at the University of Portland, live in studio. Sam, welcome to KPAM.
Thanks for having me, Tim. It's great to be here.
Appreciate your time, because you have an interesting take on this whole merger and acquisition that we've been seeing in craft beer. The beer geeks were horrified, I think, when the acquisitions first started happening. 10 Barrel, Goose Island, Elysian. You have a little bit different take on this whole thing, that it's not the bad news for the craft beer industry that some people think it might be.
Well, really, according to my research and research by some other really smart people, like Nick O'Malley down at University of Southern California, this is really the end of the beginning for craft. And what we should see is a meteoric rise in not just the number of craft breweries, but in the dollars that are flowing to craft. And really the data shows that if you look at the actions by the big beer companies, the AB InBevs, the SAB Millers, of course, they've got their over $100 billion merger that is currently being reviewed. At the end of a mature industry, this is all based on industry life cycle research, and so at the end of the mature industry and getting into the decline of a mature industry, about the only way to continuously create value for your shareholders is to merge with each other or buy other companies. And so what I believe is happening right now is AB InBev's merger with SAB Miller is the start of the decline. And what usually happens there is there's still a lot of money to be made during the decline, but it's usually only by one company. And as we would have it, they're becoming one company. But what happens to that company is their market share does go down. And so I think the interesting thing is, if their market share goes down, where is that market share going to go, assuming drinking habits stay the same and they're fairly consistent? I believe it's going to go to craft, and we're going to see craft kind of cross the chasm into the early majority and really rise.
So are the acquisitions that we've seen, especially AB here lately, 10 Barrel, Elysian, and such, is this a act of desperation on their part then?
I don't think it's desperation. I think it's actually pretty smart. You know, you want to understand better the magic of the small brew pub. You want to understand better the creativity of these somewhat inefficient, expensive ingredient beers that craft brewers make. So it does make sense to buy a few of them. But here's the rub. You know, the operating margins at a place like Anheuser-Busch are about 33.2%. The operating margins at a great, efficient, really well-run craft brewery, say like Widmer Brothers, are 5 or 6%. And so if you're going to go on a rampant buying spree as a big publicly traded company, how do you tell your shareholders, trust us, I know we're buying companies that aren't at 33%, they're at 5%, but it's a good move.
Right.
The truth is, your shareholders won't believe that for too long. And so then the question becomes, are we at the decline? And that's where I believe we are with the big beer companies.
You also, in your blog here, which we'll put up on my Beer Geek blog at kpam.com, you talk about why the consumer is willing to be a craft beer consumer, and the fact that, you know, we all like a good bargain, and yellow beer is cheap, and yet we are all willing to pay for a pint or a growler fill from our local craft brewery. Why is that?
Well, I think that's why the craft beer industry and the entrepreneurs that run these companies are so fascinating. And that's because most consumers, I mean, we've all been at a large big box retailer, say at Home Depot, looking for a new lawnmower or a big piece of equipment. How many of us then pull out our phones and say, well, what can I get this on Amazon for?
Exactly.
So we're all my business partner, Mark Meckler, another professor, he likes to say we're addicted to efficiency as consumers. We'll take the cheapest deal, the shortest shortcut all the time. But we don't do that with beer. With beer, we're much more willing to pay 2 to 3 times what a Budweiser would cost, or maybe double what even one of the macro kind of crafty beers like Shock Top might cost, because we want to feel good about it. Maybe it's because we know even at $7 a pint here in Portland, we're not getting ripped off. We're actually supporting someone we know, our neighbor, that server that treats us so well. We know the money is going to stay local, and so our buying habits are opposite to the normal common sense. That's why, as a business professor, Mark and I find this so fascinating.
It is terrifically fascinating to me as a beer geek as well. Talk a little bit about crafting a strategy, what it is, how you got into it, and how you work that into your classes at University of Portland.
Well, I think that the only downside of being a professor is that you really can only truly help the people in your classroom. And at a great university like University of Portland, we have small classes. And so Mark and I were looking at each other saying, we really want this industry to thrive. We want it to grow. We want it to stay around. How do we sustain the renaissance of craft? How do we keep more people, how do we give more people access to the business knowledge they need to run their companies the way that they want to? And so craftingastrategy.com was us sort of rewriting the entire MBA curriculum to make sense for breweries, because the rules are different in the craft beer industry or in alcoholic beverage manufacturing. And so we had to tweak the rules. But really the key is most education, particularly in universities, it's the smart man or woman in the front of the room, the professor. You basically listen to what they have to say. Let's be honest, the beer industry, you know this, it changes so fast, it's too hard for one person to keep track of. So what Mark and I wanted to do was empower brewers anywhere in the world to help each other. So Crafting a Strategy is a knowledge-sharing community where we have brewers on 4 continents ask each other questions. We have lawyers and bankers and all of these industry stakeholders, suppliers. They get together and say, wouldn't it be great if we could tap each other's knowledge and help each other in real time instead of take time away, going to find help through traditional means that generally cost more.
Right. And no, it's a fantastic resource. And also because, craft brewers are really good at making beer. But sometimes when it comes to the business side of things, there's a little bit of a knowledge gap.
Well, and one of our members up in Seattle has got a great saying. The thing that he realized in his first year was the business is not about making beer. It's about selling beer. And selling beer is really hard, especially when there's 1.6 new breweries entering the market every day.
Crazy.
In America right now. So what we have is a group of individuals, a growing group of individuals that say, I'm going to put as much passion and thought into the science of business as I do into fermentation science, because I believe I need to better myself in order to help my employees and my company.
Very cool. So I know there's members of the brewing community that listen to this segment every week. So get out your plug. How do folks get in touch with you? How do they get more information on what it is you guys do with Crafting a Strategy?
The best thing to do is to visit craftingastrategy.com. On our landing page, you'll see kind of up to the minute our Twitter feed where I'm debating things back and forth about the end of Big Beer and the blog that we posted. Click through the site. You'll see we've got over 136 content pieces. This is MBA-specific content on operations, marketing, strategy, leadership, culture, all the things that it takes to make money making beer. We support the knowledge sharing with a knowledge base of about 137 now content pieces if you add my blog, and it grows every week.
Fantastic. I feel smarter now that we've gotten older through this segment.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Sam Holloway, he is founder of Crafting a Strategy. All the information going up on my blog and on my Facebook page here on News Talk 860 KPAM. That's your first edition Beer Geek for Thursday,